Welcome to MSUA's Game Changers Live, where we speak with satellite and mobile connectivity thought leaders about industry trends and share what you need to know about the future of mobile satellite communications. I am your host, Lisa Dreher, and I'm really excited to introduce our guest for today, Dave Roscoe. He is the Executive Vice President of Satellite Communications and Products at ORBCOMM. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Lisa.
Thank you so much for making time to be here today. Maybe we can start by having you give a little bit of background on yourself and ORBCOMM.
Sure. Well, as for myself, as you mentioned, I'm EVP for our satellite communications uh, uh, group within the ORBCOMM and responsible for our satellite networks and products. I've been in the industry, satellite IoT industry myself for 27 years. So back in those days, we called it telematics, then we called it M2M, and now we call it IoT. So a long history there. In terms of ORBCOMM has been a pioneer in the IoT applications technology space. 30-year tenure. 30 years ago, ORBCOMM launched a satellite network that was dedicated to IoT type of applications. And the ORBCOMM itself has evolved business-wise quite a bit over the years. We're also now an MVNO for cellular operators. We have direct relationships with 7 different tier 1 cellular providers, including AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, for those in North America. And then we actually evolved our business too, not just providing connectivity, but also complete solutions, end-to-end IoT solutions. And so we provide our customers insight into the operations of their assets, whether they're remote or mobile, and providing this data, they're able to make more intelligent decisions on how to manage those assets. And by managing them, they can get more utilization out of those assets, or more effective performance and operational performance out of those assets, all improving their bottom line. ORBCOMM has we have some of the world's largest customers that use our products and services. To mention Walmart, JB Hunt, Hapag-Lloyd, just to mention 3.
Wow.
And,
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that at the end of the day, we sell our IoT applications and solutions through a network of value-added resellers or solution providers. We have over 400, and we also go direct with OEMs and our transportation markets globally.
Wow, amazing. So, gosh, I think there's so much happening in this particular part of the industry right now, and it's a really exciting time. What are some of the industry trends that are happening right now that you're really keeping an eye on?
There's a couple of trends, and I think the first one is there's a trend of a wider adoption of satellite technology within IoT solutions. And I think that one of the announcements more recent is when you look at Apple and Google, integrating satellite into their smartphones, right? So that's kind of like a trendsetter there, and they're using satellite, as a backup for like maybe text messages or emergency messages, things like that. But that also leads to that next trend that we're seeing, or is the convergence of satellite with cellular, right? And that fundamentally, it's interesting for us at ORBCOMM because that has always been our game plan, is providing dual mode products and services. So dual mode means satellite and cellular. So we provide, that's why we're an MVNO as well, right? So we provide both connectivity, satellite and cellular, and we provide dual mode devices as well. So that convergence, I think we're at the forefront of seeing that convergence as an industry trend. And the third one, I think that that I see in particular is cost of service, cost of products. And we're seeing constant innovation in the industry, driving costs out of the devices themselves and improved airtime prices. And here at ORBCOMM, we've invested in ASICs to drive the cost out of the products. We've invested in the development of new satellite networks. We're actually launching our 3rd generation satellite network this month, so we're pretty excited about that. And that's all to help drive costs down. And the other big item that we're doing here at ORBCOMM is that we've undertaken a development program with one of our cellular module partners, U-Blocks, and we are developing a software-defined radio on a single module that will switch between cellular, Cat-N, NB-IoT to our IDP OGX satellite network. So when you think about that innovation, and this is why it's really cool, is today, if you're want to offer a dual mode solution, you're either going to do a level of integrated device, or you're going to take a cellular device and a satellite device bolted on, and that'll be satellite as an accessory. Those solutions are hundreds of dollars, right? At the end of the day. So are people going to widely adopt satellite technology in a dual mode application when it's hundreds of dollars? Some will, because the value is there.
Right.
But a lot won't, right? It's too costly.
Of course.
But with this module, as a software-defined module, a single module, we're now going to be able to enable dual mode for tens of dollars rather than hundreds.
That's
right?
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. So I can imagine that this benefits so many industries. I mean, obviously, when you get out of range of cellular coverage, there's, that's a huge issue for many organizations that are operating in far-flung areas, and maybe even not so far-flung areas. What are some of the key industries that ORBCOMM is supporting?
Well, we are active in about, I'm going to say, 7 kind of verticals. There's transportation, heavy equipment, agriculture, maritime, oil and gas, mining, and utilities. Right, those are kind of the verticals that we're in. And if I'll elaborate on agriculture, because agriculture is probably, if everyone's probably looked at all the research reports, it's the fastest growing satellite IoT market, right? Growth is 32% CAGR over the next few years. So it's huge growth, right?
Yeah.
And, we have a lot of deployments in Latin America and in Brazil in particular. And, some fun facts on Brazil is that Brazil is like one of the top 5 agricultural countries in the world. And they also have 75 million hectares of farmland. And wow. So the cell coverage obviously is not prolific, right? So you need low cost, high reliable satellite connectivity and devices in order to improve that or get into that area of what's called smart farming, right? Mm-hmm. Smart farming ultimately increases the yield that the farmers can get out of their crops, right? By preventive monitoring of pest control, right? Of irrigation, managing irrigation remote, and there's also a lot of micro climate monitoring that these farms do as well to help manage their irrigation systems, or when to irrigate or not to irrigate or whatnot. And ultimately, if they do it right, they get an extra crop within a year.
Wow.
So you get a good ROI on that.
That's amazing. So why are the customers that ORBCOMM is working with, why are they selecting you for their satellite IoT provider?
Well, multiple reasons, clearly. One is, we've been in the business for quite a long time, so we have an extensive amount of experience and longevity, right? And we have a very extensive portfolio of products. And they're proven, field-proven products that they last as long or longer than the assets, right? And operating in very harsh environments. But it's beyond the products and services. The other, couple of points that people select ORBCOMM is our outstanding customer support, both technical. We have field application engineering, our customer support. We have a very good technical customer support to help our end customers do developments and whatnot. And they're available 24/7, multilingual across the globe. And that helps in obviously supporting the customer base. But one of the differentiating features within the ORBCOMM product portfolio or satellite terminals is that we have a development environment on board the terminal. So that allows our solution providers to develop applications and load them on the terminals, whether they're controlling an irrigation system or they're monitoring for alarms or whatnot. They can write their own applications and they can load them in the terminal. And we provide the development environment, the development kits, simulators, and our technical support to help them develop their applications. So, and I think there's one other thing I want to point out, which is always it's always either a understated or never stated aspect of our business in terms of satellite solutions is regulatory. And that's another reason why people come to ORBCOMM, is because a satellite itself can give you global coverage, but you have to have landing rights to be able to operate within all these countries. And ORBCOMM has an extensive country list, like hundreds of countries that we have regulatory access to and approval to operate in these countries. And that's another big one, which, like I said, is never talked about, but it's a major hill to climb if you're entering into this business.
Yes, absolutely. I've experienced that myself. So absolutely, meeting all of those regulatory requirements that differ from country to country is absolutely such a huge benefit that you can offer. Absolutely. So we've talked a lot about what ORBCOMM's doing today. What's on the horizon?
Well, on the horizon, as I mentioned, is we are launching this month our next generation satellite network. So again, we're pretty excited here. We're a multi-satellite network operator. To set the stage here, we own and operate our own satellite, low Earth orbit satellite constellation called OG2. But we also we operate a satellite network on geostationary satellites that are owned and operated by Viasat, previously Inmarsat, L-band services. And that's a network that we call IDP, or ISAT Data Pro, which is something that we co-branded with Inmarsat back in the day. And OGX, which is our next generation, is an evolution of IDP. And we're excited about this because, IDP, as we're operating in satellite IoT applications for the last, IDP has been out in the market for 13 years now, right? And so we've got a lot of experience and background in terms of how our satellite applications are being used. And then we're taking what we're seeing over the last, 13 years, how to evolve our next generation satellite network to open up new applications for satellite IoT. And so our OGX network is designed to optimize kind of like, I'll call it the low end or the low data usage, where we've optimized the network design so that we can take costs out of the product. So if you have short or low data applications, we have a device, and I happen to have it here, which is our SC1000, which we're launching this month with our new network. And it is I affectionately call it our OGX solar tracker, right? So it's solar powered, complete two-way device, completely integrated, easy to install, kind of your slap and track type of application, but also Bluetooth as well. So you can interface with wireless sensors, right?
That's great. Yeah. So I was going to ask that. So is there a limit to how many sensors it could support?
There is a limit, but it's on the order of 12.
Oh, wow, that's great.
So it's significant. I don't think it's, from what we've seen, is that you're typically going to be integrating like maybe 3 or 4 type of wireless sensors for those type of applications. And then the other part of our OGX network that we're excited about is that it's also designed to deliver larger payloads, so larger messages, up to a megabyte of messages. So
Wow.
when you look at satellite IoT applications, they're typically the data that you're delivering is typically on the order of tens to hundreds of kilobytes.
Mhm.
And then periodically, you need to deliver a large amount of data, like it could be a log file or a series of images. And so you have these spikes or these infrequent periods where you have to deliver a lot of data. And that is exactly how OGX is designed, is that we can deliver a megabyte of data, much more quicker and much more effective than we can today. So we really optimize on everything that we've learned in the past, and to open up new market applications for satellite IoT.
Amazing. Congratulations on all the progress. That's really exciting that you're launching that this month. So, what role are strategic partnerships playing in all of this and your ability to deliver these amazing services and products?
Well, big roles, and they're clearly very strategic, like Viasat, very strategic partner with our OGX network, and we've been developing this OGX network for the last 2 years, and we've worked closely with Viasat team in the development of OGX in terms of optimizing the utilization of these satellite resources. So OGX is a purpose-built network for satellite IoT applications. And so by doing that, we can deliver basically data very, very efficiently over the satellite network. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's going to give us, drives down costs for data delivery, right? And then we've got our module partners, which I've talked about, but are probably our along with Viasat as a key partner, is our solution providers, right? Is that these solution providers are subject matter experts in each of those vertical markets that I talked about. We have over 400 of these solution providers, but they're experts in those verticals, but then they're also solving a very specific niche problem within that vertical market. And they've got the expertise, and they take our products and services and wrap solutions around them and then go to market. And that's a big portion of our business in terms of how we go to market. So these solution providers or value-added resellers are absolutely key partners for us.
Fantastic. Can you talk about a couple of customer examples just so we can get a feel for how does this actually play out in a real world situation?
Yeah. Okay. So there's so many. That's a great thing about this business. You can take the same technology and apply it to hundreds of different solutions. And one is we have a partner, SatLink, who's develops fishing buoys, in particular for the tuna industry. And so a fishing buoy is, it's like a big crock pot, I'll say. And in the bottom of it is a sonar, and that sonar is then connected to our satellite terminal. And there's intelligence running on the in the buoy, and they use the data from the sonar in terms of looking at the depth of the school of fish, the water temperature. They now have advanced it to have species recognition algorithms running on the buoys,
Wow.
and they can accurately, fairly accurately predict that they've detected a school of tuna. right? And so what happens is that the ship goes out to ocean and they throw these buoys out in the ocean, right? And they're all floating around. And then once they detect a school of tuna, that position report will be transmitted over satellite to the fishing boat. And that fishing boat will then go to that specific exact location, drop their nets, and fish for the capture the tuna, right? So, tuna don't have, it's they're at a bit of a disadvantage with all the technology that's being applied. But you can imagine from a fishing application or from a fishing boat, the amount of fuel that they save, right,
Oh gosh,
is
yeah.
enormous. And then that also goes back down to carbon emissions and whatnot. So there's a lot of that's a neat application, right? And that's just one of hundreds.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Well, so I want to end with one last question. And as you probably already know, MSUA has been around for over 30 years. In fact, this year we're celebrating our 32nd year of supporting the millions of satellite solutions users as well as providers. And I would love to have your perspective on, obviously, things have changed a lot over the last 30 years. If you were to make a prediction about what will happen in the next 30 years, what would that prediction be?
Well, first, I'll probably be 6 feet under. Uh, but so I guess I can make a projection and then no one will come back after me. But I think, like I said at the beginning, is that we are actually at the forefront of a convergence between satellite and cellular. And I think that over the next 30 years, that convergence will be completely integrated, and that satellite will be in every aspect of communications. And that we're not going to have a satellite network provider and a cellular network provider. We're going to have a communications provider, one, and they're going to own and operate satellites, cellular towers, and everything will be completely integrated.
Okay. Well, as soon as that happens, we will, or as that happens, we'll have to have you come back on and talk about it.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your time here today, Dave. If somebody wanted to learn more about ORBCOMM and the upcoming OGX launch, what should they do?
Just go on our website, and everything is there, and contacts and whatnot. And we really would like to hear from anyone interested in our products and services. So thank you very much, Lisa, for having me today.
Excellent. My pleasure. And I do want to take a moment to thank the Mobile Satellite Users Association for hosting these sessions. You can learn more about the MSUA at msua.org. You can learn how to get our weekly newsletter that gives you updates on everything that's happening in the industry and talks about upcoming events. And you can also find out how to become a member. So we look forward to seeing you next time on MSUA's Game Changers Live.